Okay, so for my lesson plan, I'm gonna do printmaking pumpkins. So with this, you could kind of teach the basics of printmaking and incorporate, because you're making like a pumpkin patch, incorporate the idea of landscape and depth and how things get smaller when they get farther and everything, while also showing an easy way to transfer an image at home or in a classroom. And this is for third graders is what my lesson plan is for. So the first thing you need is a big piece of green construction paper. They were out of it when I went to go buy some, so I just taped four together. But in a classroom, ideally it would be just like one large piece of green construction paper. And, start by writing your name on the back. I am the only one making one here, so I don't have to worry about that. And then, so we're going to be transferring our image by using tinfoil. And this allows us to kind of wipe away any sort of etching to be able to make the pumpkin smaller as we go back and just reuse the tinfoil over and over again that way. And I folded mine up to be kind of like the biggest size of a pumpkin I would want would be fit in this, and thick enough that an etching would, or like indenting with your pencil would stay for the time that you needed it. So you need the big construction paper, tinfoil, orange and brown paint, obviously a brush, pencil, and then you'll need like either crayons or markers or pastels at the end to add your details. So yeah, so I guess we can get started. So what you want to do first is draw your pumpkin shape onto your tinfoil. So with this, I'm gonna make like my bigger ones to add to the bottom because obviously we want to show depth and make them smaller at the top. So I'm gonna do my pumpkin, and they can make them a perfect circle if they want to, or kind of oval or oblong or whatever they want to do. I'm making mine more of an oval shape. And then I'm going to add the stem to the top because I have my brown paint for that as well. So I don't know if you can see that. And then I'm going to add indents into the pumpkin to give it that pumpkin-y shape because they've got all those ridges in it. So like that, and then just make sure you've pressed hard so that those will show up when you are transferring it onto your paper. And then once you feel like you've got your pumpkin that you like, you're gonna put paint onto your tin foil and basically fill in what you just drew. So I'm gonna do that. And you can explain that they can transfer it with either a brush or a sponge or an apple, or different ways to transfer it to give different textures and different levels of opacity. I'm doing a brush because it's easier, but they could do whatever. Okay. And then I have another brush for my brown. And you can encourage them getting creative, like if they want to stipple with a brush to give it that texture. It's all really up to them. I like that this gives students a lot of room to be creative. And if you feel like maybe your lines got lost, like your indent lines, you can go back over with your pencil because pencils can be wiped down. Okay. Now here's the transfer part, so that's my image. And then I want it to be at the bottom because it's a bigger pumpkin, so I'm gonna go right here and then just pat evenly and hope that it actually transfers. It should. We shouldn't have any problems. Keep patting, pat, pat. Okay, moment of truth. Okay. So because I did a thin layer, that's how much showed up. So if you want, it's kind of that lesson of opacity, like I was saying. Like if I were to have really laid it on thick, it would have made it more opaque in the beginning, but I can go over it over and over again. And then the good part about, let's say I'm done with the small pumpkins, I can just kind of, or I'm done with the big pumpkins. I can flip it and then start on my smaller ones with my fresh tin foil and without wasting more tin foil. So I'm gonna do that. In this one, I'm gonna do more of a circular shape just for variety. I thought of this lesson plan like in September, so that's why it's fall themed, although now it is November and we're getting on the winter time, but I feel like pumpkin patches are always fun. Okay, so I have my smaller pumpkin, and this time I'll really lay it on thick so we can see the difference. Okay. And I added in the lesson plan like the availability of adaptive tools for kids that need it or kids that want to use it. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna say I want this one a little farther up because it's kind of a medium size, so I'm gonna put it in the middle of my picture and smush, smush, smush. Kind of make sure I've smushed it all. And so there's my medium-sized one. Obviously it's a lot brighter because I used a lot more paint. So I'm gonna keep going and keep filling it up and getting smaller and smaller, and then I'll come back once I've done that. Okay, so I'm back the next day and all my pumpkins have dried. And this is what it ended up looking like. I left room at the top to add like things in the background, but I ended up mixing some red and yellows into the pumpkins and the stems, so I'm gonna add that to my lesson plan because I realized that gave it a little more variety. And yeah, so now this would be like the next day for the next time you see them, would be adding all the details. So adding like either horizon line or ground lines to establish depth, obviously. And if they want to add like, if they want to make it spooky and add like tombstones, or if they want to make it more of like a farm thing or add a fence or a road in the background, it kind of depends on how high they made their pumpkins go up on the page and if they're clustered all to one side. This is all kind of, I really like that. This gives them a lot of room to just kind of be creative. So I think for mine, I'm gonna add like a fence in the background and maybe a scarecrow. And so for that, I have crayons, but you can give the option for crayons, pastels, colored pencils. So I'm just gonna do that now. It might take me a minute, so I'll be back when I've done a little more detail stuff. Okay, so I am back again, and I have my project done. I added details. I wanted to do more of like a farm thing, so I added a fence and a scarecrow and ground lines to, you know, ground the pumpkins, and acorns and leaves and little plants and everything. I think it looks cute. I like how it turned out. So yeah, that's it. This is, you know, when you would talk about the process of printing the pumpkins onto the paper and how that turned out and what you learned and what works and what doesn't. And I definitely learned a lot about transferring from this. So yeah, that's how you do it. You can, like I said, there's so many variations in this. You could have it be vertical and allow for more stuff to be in the background if you wanted to do like a haunted house or a farm. So yeah, that's it.